When you run a therapy clinic, whether you're a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, or a speech language pathologist, a credentialing denial from an insurance network, well, it just hits hard.
It absolutely does.
It's not just some administrative headache. It feels like the entire foundation of your practice just uh, shifted.
For PTs, OTs, SLPs, being in-network it's the lifeline for consistent revenue. More than that, it's about serving your patients without these huge financial barriers.
And we know denials happen.
Oh, all the time. And often, they boil down to something really simple. An administrative error, a licensing date that's off, or maybe an issue with your provider profile.
And when you say provider profile, you mean that big central database, right?
Exactly. I'm talking about CAQH, the Council for Affordable Quality Healthcare. It's supposed to be the one source for all your documents. And an outdated CAQH profile is, I would say, the #1 trigger for a denial.
Okay, so if it's just a typo on a form, why is appealing so difficult?
Because that simple error,
Yeah.
it kicks off this whole formal process. You get official denial notices. You have to follow these really complex procedures. And the fascinating thing is, the real challenge isn't if you could appeal, it's knowing when to stop.
When to stop trying to handle it yourself.
Precisely. Knowing when to ask for professional help. Because it gets complicated much, much faster than just fixing a typo.
And that's the mission of this deep dive. We've pulled together the specific procedural facts and the 6 clear signals that tell you when an appeal has just escalated beyond what your clinic can handle.
Agreed. Let's jump in.
Signal 1. This is, I think, the first roadblock for so many clinic owners. You're unsure why you were denied, that letter arrives, and you feel like you need a law degree to understand it.
You're so right. Payers have to explain their decision, but they do it in this impenetrable jargon.
Right.
You'll see these references to, regulatory subsections or their own credentialing committee standards or these vague compliance issues. It's policy speak, not instructions.
Can you give an example?
Sure. They might cite a policy for incomplete documentation of historical work gaps. And all that happened was you forgot to list a 2-month period when you were moving between states.
So you're sitting there rereading this letter over and over, trying to connect their legalese to your simple situation, and you just have no idea what to do next.
And that right there, that lack of a clear action plan, that's your trigger. If you read it twice and still don't know exactly what document to send or what to write, you're just wasting time.
Wasting precious time. Which leads us right to signal 2. The appeal timeline feels tight.
It really does. Because those timelines are strict. They're non-negotiable.
How strict are we talking?
Many insurers give you 30 to 60 days, sometimes less. And if you lose a week just being frustrated by the language we just talked about, those other 3 weeks, they just disappear.
And that clock starts ticking the second that letter's printed, not when you open it.
Absolutely. An expert can help prioritize. They help prepare all the documentation so it's accurate the first time, and it fully addresses the payer's real concern. All before that deadline is gone.
You don't get a second chance to make that first appeal count.
You really don't. You can't afford to burn those days on simple mistakes.
Okay, now let's talk about when it's more than a simple mistake. Signal 3. The denial involves licensing, background, or policy issues. This is where it gets serious.
If the denial is tied to something like an expired license, a gap in your work history, maybe a malpractice claim, you should not be handling this alone. These things demand very precise responses.
But, I mean, if you have a perfectly good explanation for a past issue, isn't just telling them the truth the best way to go?
This is where so many smart people get it wrong. A well-intentioned explanation can actually weaken your appeal if you word it incorrectly. Okay, let's say you had a licensing lapse that's been resolved. If you just explain why it happened, like I was moving and I forgot the deadline, that can sound like you're admitting you're irresponsible with paperwork.
Wow. So you've just handed them the reason to deny you for good.
Precisely. A professional is going to frame it differently. They'll focus on the corrective action you took, your current good standing, and why that past event has zero bearing on your ability to practice now.
It's defensive.
Strategic. It has to be. You need that careful framing when the stakes are this high.
Stepping back from those high-stakes issues, let's talk about just the daily grind of running a clinic. That brings us to signal 5. You don't have time to track every detail.
An appeal is just a massive, detail-oriented time sink. You're generating documents, you're tracking submission dates, you have to verify they even received it.
Because things get lost.
Things get lost, and you're following up with these, notoriously slow credentialing departments, all while you're trying to see patients.
That juggling act, it's just not sustainable. I think the clearest signal is when you catch yourself thinking, I'll get to this next week.
I once talked to a physical therapist who, she told me she kept all her denial paperwork in a folder labeled urgent, but not now.
Oh, that says it all, doesn't it?
It does. She missed 2 different 30-day deadlines because she couldn't find the letters
Uh-huh.
under a pile of patient progress notes. That thought, I'll handle this next week, is the moment you know you need help.
Which brings us to a really demoralizing one, signal 4. You've already tried appealing, and you either got another denial or just silence.
Radio silence, yeah. If your first appeal failed, it's a huge red flag that the problem is deeper than just some missing paperwork. This is usually where we find systemic issues.
Systemic? What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's about how the payer's system is interpreting your information. It might not be a simple error on your part.
Wait, so my data could be correct, but their computer is reading it wrong.
Exactly. For example, maybe your CAQH profile lists your address with the state spelled out, Colorado, but the payer system, it requires the 2-letter abbreviation CO. And that mismatch throws up a red flag and triggers a denial. An expert knows those little system quirks.
Okay, and finally, that brings us to the big picture. Signal 6. You want to prevent future denials.
Right. Resolution isn't just about fixing this one problem. It's about setting up a system for ongoing compliance. If you don't, you'll be right back in the same spot next year.
So getting back in network isn't the finish line.
Not at all. It's the starting line for keeping everything up to date. The goal of professional help is readiness. They put systems in place so you can just focus on your patients.
So to sum it up, it's really about precision over persistence, interpreting their language, meeting those deadlines, and giving them exactly what they're asking for.
That's it.
Okay, let's really unpack the crucial procedural facts, the FAQs that every clinic owner needs to know, starting with that ticking clock.
Right. Deadlines. We said 30 to 60 days, but really, you should assume it's 30 calendar days from the date on the letter. You have to check that date immediately.
And what if you miss it, even by a few days?
Missing the deadline often means you forfeit your right to appeal. Completely. Now, if it's just a couple of days, call them immediately. Explain what happened. Sometimes they'll grant a little grace period. But if it's a week or more, you're probably going to have to restart the whole process from scratch.
As a new applicant.
As a new applicant, which
Yeah.
means a very, very long wait.
Let's talk rights. Does every insurance company have to let you appeal?
Most do, yes. It's often required by state law or accreditation standards. It's also important to know that federally, Medicare Advantage plans must allow providers to appeal. If a smaller private payer tells you there's no appeal path, your next step is to ask about a secondary review or call your state insurance regulator.
So what if you do everything right? You get help, you submit a perfect appeal, and you still get denied. What then?
Then you climb the ladder. You may have a right to a higher level review. Sometimes it's a formal hearing in front of an appeals committee.
And if that fails...
If that fails, your main option is to fix whatever issue they identified and reapply from the beginning. It takes time, but at least you've fixed the core problem. In very rare cases, if you think the denial was completely arbitrary, that's when you might file a complaint with the state or seek legal advice.
Okay, final crucial question. While all this is happening, can you keep seeing your patients?
This is a gray area. It really depends on state rules and the payer. You have to check with your licensing board, with Medicaid, with Medicare.
And for private insurance?
For private payers, you can often keep seeing patients. You might have to bill them directly or as out-of-network.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is critical, the patient has to know.
Full transparency.
Absolutely.
Mm.
The patient must be fully informed about what their costs might be while the appeal is pending. You can never assume you'll get paid retroactively.
Wow. That is a ton of context for something that starts as a simple rejection letter. Okay, so a quick recap for everyone listening. Those 6 signals are your roadmap. If you see vague language, a serious background issue, or you're just out of time, that's your sign.
That's the tipping point.
And you have to respect that 30-day clock.
Yeah.
Recognize that success here is about precision, not just persistence.
I think when you consider the stakes, your revenue, your ability to serve your patients, the process just requires deep, specialized experience, someone who knows payer policies inside and out. It's not just about fixing a missing document today. It's about seeing those hidden data flags that trip up so many clinics.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. The cost of appealing a denial yourself isn't just the lost revenue while you wait. The real cost is the opportunity cost. It's about your focus. Every hour you or your staff spend decoding jargon, tracking forms, and fighting on the phone is an hour you can't spend on patient outcomes, on mentoring your team, or on growing the business you actually trained for.
Mm.
When you weigh that time against the expertise needed to get this done quickly and correctly, the help you bring in isn't just buying compliance, it's buying back your focus so you can deliver excellent care.